I would like to stop here and point out a few more of the questionnaires, because you have a break now of a few weeks. We will be having class in 3 weeks, and you have time to work on these questionnaires. Look at page 3. Purifying our character. When you leave your physical body, you will be taking with you your character and all of your tendencies, positive and negative. You will then experience an after-death state or environment which will depend on the purity of your character and your mental and emotional tendencies. Also, in your next life, you will continue with the same basic character traits. Which aspects of your character would you like to improve before leaving? Consider your fears, attachments, habits, weaknesses, attitudes, and behaviors. Okay, so what do you want to change before you go through this examination? Okay? 2, which beliefs would you like to strengthen in order to make those improvements in your character? 3, write here the truth which you would like most to strengthen. 4, describe how you would like your personality to be ideally. Okay? The next page, peace with your conscience. Some behaviors, thoughts, words, actions, or attitudes which are occasionally out of alignment with my conscience. For example, I feel shame or guilt, or they do not express as much love, peace, respect, unity, or selflessness as I would like. This could include what I do and also what I do not do. So we have here the possibility of writing 4 behaviors which afterwards we feel like, well, I really wouldn't like to behave in this way. It's not a loving way to behave. It's not in alignment with my values. Okay? So then when you've found those, then we have here space to analyze 2 of those. Analysis of the first behavior. And now the first question is, the feelings or needs which move me toward this behavior are: consider emotions such as fear, injustice, anger, disappointment, feeling betrayed, guilt, shame, self-doubt, self-rejection, and various needs such as to protect your self-worth, your security, your freedom, or various pleasures. So we want to see, what do I feel, what do I need, which causes me to act in a way which later I feel shameful or guilty in reacting in this way. 2, the beliefs which create in me the above-mentioned feelings and needs are: consider especially defense mechanisms such as beliefs which cause you to feel that your safety, self-worth, or freedom to satisfy your needs are in danger. And 3, the opposite positive beliefs or spiritual truths which will free me from these false perceptions and maintain a behavior of love, peace, and respect towards myself and others. So we're seeking to find beliefs which will make us feel secure enough about our safety, about our self-worth, about our self-fulfillment, which will free us from the need to act defensively or negatively towards others. If you have time, I'm not going to read them now during these days. Look also at the questionnaire which is called the alignment with your self-purpose and the obstacles towards the fulfillment of life purpose. These are about connecting with our life purpose. Okay? And then we'll have a chance to look at these later. Okay, so in conclusion for today, we have mentioned the first 3 aspects of the death experience. The first is that we have a body, a new body, which can pass through matter, travel instantaneously, fly, see and hear. It cannot be seen or heard. We will be met by beings of light, angels, or relatives, and we will go through a process of examining our life so as to learn, see what we learned, see what we didn't learn, so as we continue our evolutionary process. Any questions? We're not going to have time today for meditation, obviously. Any questions which you have about this material? Amina.
How is it similar, you said, that with the dream state?
The dream state is a bodiless state in which our contents of our mind creates our reality. Whatever is bothering us, whatever is giving us pleasure, whatever is giving us pain, creates that reality. So it's a reality which is created by our minds and the contents of our minds. The same is truth after death. We will experience a reality which is created by our minds and the contents of our minds. If we are aware of that, then we can pass through that in order to contact the ultimate reality which is beyond that. Otherwise, we could get locked up in self-created realities for a period of time. Hey, Wendy.
About our night jobs, let's say.
Yes. You don't get paid for this. No.
What's the significance of remembering our dreams? I mean, is it a good idea to work on remembering our dreams? Or?
Yes, it's useful. It shouldn't go too far so that we can't sleep all night. We're writing our dreams, you know. But definitely, it's useful. It's a source of guidance, source of information.
Yes. I know I've had dreams when I wake up, and there was a stage where I was working on it, but it just made me pretty tired.
Yeah, you kept waking up?
Yes.
Yeah. If you just write down whatever you remember in the morning immediately without getting up at all, you'll start to gain access to them. Best way is this.
The other thing is, you said that this back in the body, when we come back into the body again, the person's had this experience,
yes,
etc. Will he remember this in lives later on? When he reincarnates again, will he be able to have
not necessarily, but he could, because people do have knowledge of previous lives, some people. But he will have the benefit of it, however.
Oh, right.
Okay, we may not remember the particular experience, but there will be a certain assurity, a certain sense that, you know, there is life after death. Right. Yes, Paula?
Yeah, if there's a way for people after death to communicate, you were mentioning the story of your father communicating through your brother-in-law, then why doesn't it happen more often to give comfort to the people who are grieving for their loved ones?
It actually happens very frequently. I have yet to meet a person who's lost a loved one in which someone in the family hasn't received very clear messages. What happens is that it's very difficult for the persons that are very emotionally upset to receive any message in the beginning. For example, I think it was the second or third night, I had a very clear conversation with my father after his death, where he showed me his after-death environment, explained to me how things were, and I'm very sure it was a direct communication. Whereas my mother, after 1 year, she was able to have this dream in which he took her where he was and he explained things to her. Usually, within the first 2 or 3 days, there is some communication by the soul to some family member or friend who is connected but not so emotionally upset. And that message is passed on. But this doesn't solve the problem for most people. I mean, being assured that the other being, that this loved one still exists, is only half of the problem. I would say it's only about 1/10 of the problem. The main problem is we want them physically next to us. This is the problem of the pain of death. The pain of death is not so much, you know, that the other person is losing out on some experience. Is that we are losing out from the security, the pleasure, the happiness that we had from this person's presence. Our mourning at death is 90% selfish. Yeah. Being alone is like being dead in many ways. For example, there are two aspects of this. One is that in the primitive days, if you were rejected by society, you would probably die, because you would have no way of surviving. I mean, your survival was definitely dependent on your being with a group of people who could protect you from the animals, protect you from other tribes, help you to procure your food. If you were by yourself in a jungle, in those days you could not live. So being rejected by society meant death. Okay? So one aspect is that we will do anything to have people's approval. I mean, we will just, to be accepted and loved by people, we will deny our personality, we'll deny our beliefs, we'll deny everything. And the second is that so much of our emotional life is dependent on interaction. So a person who is totally alone, has no one to speak to, no one to communicate, no one who understands him, has experienced a kind of death. He has no relationship. Of course, today you can watch TV, you can do, you can get on the internet, these kinds of things. In the older days, I guess it was much more difficult. Okay, so don't die until we finish this course, so that you know what you're. Okay.